When you think of a fish, a seahorse might not be the first thing that comes to mind. Its head looks like a horse's head. It swims upright. It is covered in bony plates instead of scales. But a seahorse is a kind of fish, in the same family as pipefish and sea dragons. Seahorses can be found in tropical and temperate coastal waters around the world. To date, scientists have identified 46 different species of seahorses, ranging in size from 13 millimeters to 35 centimeters long. It can be difficult to classify seahorses using just visual markings and characteristics, because individual seahorses within the same species sometimes look very different from one another. This is because seahorses can change their shape and color to blend in with their surroundings. So scientists have used genetic research to help differentiate between the species. Special structures in their skin cells, called chromatophores, give seahorses the ability to change color. Seahorses use camouflage, the ability to blend into their surroundings, when they are escaping from predators, and when they are sneaking up on prey of their own. They may also change colors as part of a greeting dance with their mate. Seahorses are very slow swimmers. In fact, they are the slowest of all fish species. Unlike most fish, they do not have a caudal fin. Instead, they use one small fin on their back to propel themselves. This fin can beat back and forth 50 times per second. But its small size makes it fairly ineffective, especially in rough waters. Though they may not be fast swimmers, seahorses do have the ability to swim forwards, backwards, up and down. They use small pectoral fins to steer, and they have a swim bladder that controls their buoyancy. By changing the amount of air in their swim bladder, they can move up or down in the water. Seahorses also have prehensile tails. This means their tail can grasp or hold objects. Sometimes they hold onto things in order to anchor themselves in place, but they may also grasp a moving object in order to hitch a ride somewhere. Seahorses do not have stomachs or teeth, and they must eat constantly. Lucky for them, they are effective hunters. Not only are they very silent and stealthy swimmers, but they also have excellent eyesight. In fact, each eye can move independently of one another, so a seahorse could look backward and forwards at the same time, if it wanted to. Once they locate and sneak up on their prey, which includes tiny fish and crustaceans, they suck them up through their snout like a vacuum cleaner. Seahorses can make sounds, similar to the sound of smacking lips. They make these sounds while feeding and during courtship. Reproduction. During the breeding season, male and female seahorses partner up and stay together through multiple reproductive cycles. Some species of seahorses even mate for life. Every morning, the seahorse couple engages in a greeting dance that involves multiple twists and turns. Sometimes they wrap their tails together and spiral around an object. This daily dance, which can last minutes or even hours, strengthens their bond and confirms to each seahorse that their partner is still alive. Seahorses are unique in that the male seahorse is the one who carries the young and gives birth. The only other animal that does this is the sea dragon. When her eggs are ready, the female seahorse will lay her eggs into a pouch on the male's abdomen called a brood pouch. This brood pouch is similar to a pouch on a kangaroo. Once the eggs are in the pouch, the male seahorse fertilizes them, and then grabs onto an object with his tail, so he can rest in place. After several weeks of gestation, the male seahorse starts having contractions. These contractions expel the baby seahorses, called fry, out of the pouch. The contractions can last hours, and the male seahorse could give birth to hundreds, if not thousands of fries. Once expelled into the water, the young seahorses float together in groups among the plankton. They must fend for themselves immediately after birth. As such, only about 5 out of every 1,000 seahorse babies will make it to adulthood. In the wild, seahorses have a lifespan of about 1 to 5 years. They are preyed upon by crabs, rays, and tuna. Habitat and range. Seahorses are found in temperate and tropical waters throughout the world. Favorite seahorse habitats are coral reefs, seagrass beds, estuaries, and mangrove forests. Seahorses use their prehensile tails to anchor themselves to objects such as seaweed and branching corals. Despite their tendency to live in fairly shallow waters, seahorses are difficult to see in the wild, since they can remain very still and blend in with their surrounding. Diet and behavior. Although there is some variation based on species, in general, seahorses feed on plankton and tiny crustaceans such as amphipods, decapods, and mysids, as well as algae. Seahorses do not have stomachs, so food passes through their bodies very quickly, and they need to eat often, between 30 and 50 times a day. Although they are fish, seahorses are not great swimmers. Seahorses prefer to rest in one area, sometimes holding on to the same coral or seaweed for days. They beat their fins very quickly, up to 50 times a second, but they do not move quickly. They are able to move up, down, forward, or backward. Conservation status. The International Union for Conservation of Nature has not as yet evaluated seahorse endangerment, but hippocampus spp were among the first fishes brought under global trade restrictions in 1975. They are currently listed in Appendix 2 of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, which allows exports of specimens only if they are sourced sustainably and legally. All countries which were historically exporting large numbers of them have since banned the export, or are under CITES export suspensions and banned the export prior to 1975. Nevertheless, seahorses are still threatened by harvesting for use in aquariums, like curios, and in traditional Chinese medicine. Historic and recent fisheries and/or trade surveys in source countries with trade bans have all revealed persistent exports of dried seahorses through unofficial channels. Other threats include habitat destruction and pollution. Because they are hard to find in the wild, population sizes may not be well known for many species. Distribution of the seahorse. There are 54 known species of seahorse, and these species can be found across the world. In the Pacific Ocean, they can be found from the coast of North America to the coast of South America. In the Atlantic Ocean, they can be found from the coast of Canada to South America. Some species have been found off the coasts of Europe and in the Mediterranean Sea. Does the seahorse make a good pet? Seahorses bred in aquariums can make good pets, but only to the experienced aquarist. Maintaining a saltwater aquarium is costly and time-consuming. They cannot be handled in any way, and are strictly decorative as a pet. These are some of cool facts about seahorses. The first one, male seahorses take care of the offspring. The way seahorses reproduce is very different from how the vast majority of other species procreate. When they're ready to mate, the female seahorse will deposit her eggs into the male's pouch, which is found in his abdomen. She can leave up to 50 eggs there. It's up to the male to carry those eggs until they're ready to be born. This allows the female's body to begin producing more eggs right away, which ensures that she'll be able to mate again sooner, rather than later, in order to keep the species alive. Once the babies hatch, they're released from the male's abdomen. They're fully formed babies, and every mating can result in up to 1,500 seahorses. The second one, seahorses love to eat. Seahorses really love to eat. They feed almost constantly on tiny fish and plankton. The reason that they have to keep eating all the time is that their digestive systems work so quickly. Food passes right through them, so they need to continue consuming in order to stay alive. In fact, they can consume up to 3,000 brine shrimp in one day. Unlike other species, seahorses don't have teeth or a stomach, so their digestive processes are very unique. The third one, seahorses take advantage of camouflage to survive. These creatures are experts at hiding themselves amidst the coral reefs where they live. Some species can actually change the color of their bodies to blend in, while others are already built with the right color, shape, size, and texture to blend in perfectly with the corals. The fourth one, they use their prehensile tails a lot. Seahorses are actually pretty bad swimmers. What makes them really different from other swimmers in the sea, however, is that they swim upright. And when storms hit, these delicate creatures can actually become so exhausted that they can die as a result. But they're really good at anchoring themselves to corals and grasses, thanks to their prehensile tails that allow them to stay steady and deep despite strong currents. When fighting over mates, territory, or food, seahorses use their powerful tails against one another as their main weapons. But when they get along, pairs of seahorses can be seen swimming together with their tails linked. The fifth one, they mate for life. Seahorses find a companion that they'll stay with for life. They're monogamous creatures, meaning they only mate with one other seahorse for their entire lives. Their unique courtship includes dancing with one another, displaying a variety of colors, swimming alongside one another, and spinning around each other. This can last up to 8 hours. So, today we are talking about some details about seahorse. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more videos.